I see. So, I think we're good now. I think we're good now on YouTube. Well, thank you very much for bearing with me. And we'll talk more Gbenga Adeboye. I like his work, by the way. I think his work's fantastic, right? It's a brilliant, brilliant comedian. And I'm glad he got his flowers while he was on earth, and he's still getting his flowers even in death. And that's something to be proud of. All right. I think it's on YouTube. I'll know later. I think we're good, but we'll just continue and then we'll see how that goes. Anybody here? I think it was Miss Lola. Do you mind checking? Thank you. Let me check here as well. Then we can get right into it. Say evergreen. Yes, yes. It's fantastic work. Brilliant mind. Brilliant. Brilliant. His kids should be proud. They should be very, very proud. Thank you, Kubu, on YouTube. Thank you, Kubu, on YouTube. Thank you. All right. I need a drink. Afolabi Richards, thank you, sir. Ogbeni Aluko, he was a doyen in chosen career. Absolutely. Absolutely. Gorilla Boys, how are you, sir? We're good now, so YouTube is fine. Now I have to find my way back to where we were. I on daily. Please be on TikTok. Please don't stop our tapping. We need all the help we can get. But like I said, if I was planning to leave at 7, now it's probably going to be like 7:15 or 7:20, thereabout. So let's continue from where we stopped. For YouTube, thank you very much for joining us. We had some network issues, weather and all, but we're here now. Please like the live on YouTube. Just double tap on your screen, and then you would have liked the live, and that will also help get it on the. I think they do for you page as well on YouTube these days. Or whatever you do will help the algorithm recommend the live. So thank you very much for doing that, and we're going to continue now, right? Let's continue. The tribal factor, again, the book is okay. I think I'm just going to flow. It is well with today's live stream. All right. The idea of hating others and doing things against them because they're not of your ethnic stock, that is definitely not one of the things that we are championing. We don't even, that's not even what we. Be proud of what you do. By the way, I also like to tell people, when we talk about tribalism, even as a Yoruba person, I don't like using the word tribalism. And I'll tell you why. Because when you study the movements in the UK, not the Irish movement, the Scottish movement, not once would you hear them being called a tribalist movement, right? They are referred to as a nationalist movement or nationalist movement. Okay, so what that tells you basically is that this is about you projecting your own self-preservation, celebrating your uniqueness. All those things are things that you should be proud of, regardless of what people want to say about it. But let's get back into the book now. So the book again is The Educated Elite in the Nigerian Society by E.B. Ayodele. So it says here, the tribal factor as the major cause of the Nigerian crisis and the civil war centered around the Igbo. Not because they were worse than the Yoruba and the Hausa Fulani, but because in the circumstances in which history had pushed them, they were less discreet, more articulate, and abler than the others to irritate and provoke others. It is in this respect that their role as an ethnic group in contemporary Nigeria is singled out as an illustration of tribalism at work, and I dare say tribalism and bigotry at work. Why do I say this? Because in Nigeria's history, if there's any group that has actually pushed, is this the book you said every ethnic group collects? Yes, this is the book. This is the book. If you're actually talking about bigotry, not even just tribalism or liking your own people, the idea of bigotry of putting other ethnic groups down, if you're talking about it in Nigeria's history, this would be the folks who actually own it. Not just owned it, but own it. And I'm not saying all of them are like that, but I'm saying as a culture, it's something you're going to find in some places in Nigeria. Let's continue. For whilst, so let me take it again. It is in this respect that their role as an ethnic group in contemporary Nigeria is singled out as an illustration of tribalism at work. For whilst the Hausa Fulani were pursuing their dog-in-the-manger policy in the old North Nigeria, and the Yoruba were anxious to assume leadership in the country, neither of these two peoples was in a position to translate desire into action and thereby attempt to force themselves upon the country. Only the Igbo attempted to carry loyalty to the tribe to the extent that other ethnic groups began to fear that the Igbo were making a bid for domination of the Federation. Again, C.D. Oyema, 1945 speech. Only the Igbo attempted to carry loyalty to the tribe to the extent that other ethnic groups began to fear that the Igbo were making a bid for domination of the Federation. This fear generated suspicion and hatred for the Igbo, particularly among the Northerners. As a Northern soldier reportedly exclaimed, "The Igbo know how to talk and pretend to be brothers. We discovered their treachery. Most countries have one Judas Iscariot for 100 people." I'll take that again. Most countries have one Judas Iscariot for every 100 of their people. The Igbos are 99% Judas. My best friend in the army was an Igbo. I discovered afterwards that even he had misbehaved. Now, let me quickly say this. I don't think that 99% of Igbos are Judas. I don't think so. I don't even know the percentage. But that's the view of this particular soldier. However, before we explain the phenomenon of the fear instilled into other tribes by the Igbo, we should pause a little on the incapacity or unwillingness of the Fulani Hausa and of the Yoruba to impose themselves on the rest of the country. Whilst it is true that there were not wanting Northerners who considered Nigeria as a unit, the fact remains that the NPC leadership, the political party that bestrode the vast North like a colossus, was predominantly and overwhelmingly Northern in outlook and in their vision, that they thought more Northern-wise than Nigerian-wise. That the dream of Islamic conquest southward to the Atlantic seaboard, which had been attempted by the fanatical followers of Usman Dan Fodio in the 19th century, had been abandoned. That culturally and religiously, the peoples of the far north, excluding the middle belt of the old northern region, believed that they belonged more to the Islamic world north of the tropical forest than to the rest of Nigeria. That but for the geographical pull that compelled them to depend upon the transatlantic sea routes for their exports and imports, they might not have elected to be part of the Federation of Nigeria. However, although territorially and demographically the Old North was bigger than the rest of Nigeria, the Northerners were only too painfully conscious of their lack of Western-style literary education, the indispensable instrument absolutely essential for the leadership of the federal government. Therefore, they became eager compromisers, offering to share authority and power with any group of Southerners who would regard the North as an exclusive preserve of the NPC. Hence, in 1959 and 1964, the majority in the House of Representatives notwithstanding, the NPC, which all the time swept the polls in the northern region, gave away to the Southerners far more than they retained. What they're saying basically is this. In the First Republic, right, the Northerners did not have as many Western educated people as the South, the West, or the East. Sadauna talking to the British BBC correspondents, talking about how, you know, they were not they were instituting or practicing what they call the Northernization policy, where more Northerners would be able to get into the civil service. You see, back in the late 50s into the early 60s, the MPC and NCNC worked hand in glove, and because they were allies, the proceeds, I should say, or the loot or the booty of the war should go to both of them in terms of civil service jobs, in terms of opportunities in the civil service, the federal government should go to both of them. But the MPC could not take advantage of it because it did not have a lot of educated people that could work in the civil service, whether it was in the Nigerian Railway Corporation or Nigerian Airways or Port Authority and so on and so forth. So the NCNC took charge of that. But here's the problem. The NCNC had more people. The NCNC in the South had a lot of people who were educated. Now, if you can remember, NCNC is not or was not originally Igbo. It was a party that was started in Lagos and was a coalition of different groups. And I know I say this every time, but it's important to repeat it. It's a coalition of different groups, and at least 4 of them we've mentioned here. We've mentioned the NNDP. That was a party that was created by Herbert Macaulay in 1923. We've mentioned the Lagos Market Women Association that was led by Alimotu Pelewura. Of course, she was also assisted by Abibatu Mogaji, who became the head of the Market Women after Alimotu Pelewura. Of course, Abibatu Mogaji was the mother, she's late now, was the mother of our president right now. So you had NNDP, you had Lagos Market Women Association, you had the TUC, Trade Union Congress, and then you had the student movement. Now, all these guys, all these groups came together to form NCNC, and the first president was Herbert Macaulay, the secretary was Azikiwe. Azikiwe became head in 46 after the demise of Herbert Macaulay, and then he went on to essentially turn the whole thing into a tribal thing. And how do we know this? Because although NPC did not have a lot of people to work in the civil service, NCNC did. Now, NCNC, we started in Lagos with all Yoruba groups and with other Nigerian groups joined in there, had people who could fill in those vacancies, right? But the NCNC did not fill those vacancies as NCNC. The Igbos used the machinery of the party to dominate those spaces with their own people, not because of merit, but because of nepotism. Yeah. In 1959 and 1964, their majority, talking about the NP, jacked by a particular ethnic group. Like the other regions, the northern region employed a very large number of southerners to the southern regions. Though qualitatively and quantitatively superior to the Hausa Fulani in Western-style education, the Yoruba have never overcome the intra-ethnic bitterness and hatred which progressively have proved a source of perennial division among them. Since the early years of the 19th century, I call it intertribal because it was amongst the tribes within the ethnic from time to time, even in present, day in Nigeria. And it's something that we have to be very, very careful of. But there's a point he made that I think I should also just spend a couple of. We did it with Ilori. Just got in the mix and then took over. We have that to deal. Corner everything, cornerable. If there's any word like cornerable. If there's any word like that. And I'm not just talking. We're talking based on history and even based on what's happening right now. And just like it happened in the 60s, it also happened in the last couple of years. There was a meeting, I mentioned this just the other day. There was a hearing at the House of Representatives in Abuja, and one woman who was the head of a federal government institution in Anambra State was there to speak to the Federal House of Representatives. And I said, I think, was it today or on Wednesday, how the entire place required about less than 900 people to 900. But of the less than 900, 65 were from Enugu, 811 were from Anambra. Now, these are the people that you think that let's just open the place up because, after all, I don't like my brother. Which is what happened in the last election with LP, the ridiculous LP top to bottom. People are now angry with themselves, by the way, because they didn't like Tinubu or they hated whatever APC was doing. Again, I don't speak for any party. I'm just saying that you've got to the point where you don't like the fact that, you're exposed, are we not together? You are being weakened because the person who you are,
and in the process weaken them. Thus, whilst the Igbo began the founding of the government with a set of ideas and a vision which were bound to frighten the Hausa Fulani rulers of the north. This leader was Obafemi Awolowo. He deserves more than mere mentioning. Born on 6 March 1909 in Ikene, a small town, he produced his first major political writing on Nigeria, Path to Nigerian Freedom, a book which contains several ideas he has continued to entertain for a quarter of a century. One such idea is commiseration with the Hausa, whom he believed were being oppressed by the Fulani impostors. And the latter came for especially severe judgment additionally because they are seen as the propagators of Islam, a religion which Awolowo associates with the relative backwardness of the North in the matter of Western-style education, and which he believes is palpably inferior to Christianity. Said he in 1947 of the Hausa, of the people in Nigeria, the Hausas, this is how I was speaking, of the people in Nigeria, the Hausas are at the same time the poorest and the never been known to grumble. He sighed for the day when they would be delivered from enslavement to the Fulani overlords, which he believed had been stamped on the Hausa by Islam. Said he, the day cannot be too far distant when the Hausas will come to differentiate what Allah has ordained from what man has ordained. That day will be the beginning of sorrow for those, the Fulani, who have exploited the credulousness of their fellow men. The NPC, rulers of the North, popularly associated with the Fulani aristocracy, were only too aware that the activities of this pan-Yoruba leader, as well as his utterances, could bring them sorrow if he was allowed to have his way in the North. Able, resourceful, and shrewd, the social and economic programs that he had put forward to his people in the West in the years of his premiership, 1951 to 1959, were those of a modernist and modernizer. One second, please. Were those of a modernist and modernizer in the best tradition of deluded hybrids, comprehensive, dynamic, and revolutionary, saying that the plans that Awolowo had back then, comprehensive, dynamic, and revolutionary. The interpretation of, or the understanding of Islam in the North is different from Islam in other parts. To be honest, other parts of the world, or let me just say, in other parts of Nigeria. Okay, and that became very clear to me when I saw. It was during this old, what was her name now? Deborah. That was an issue with Deborah in the North when she was unalive.
There's a battle of supremacy between the Alaafin and the Oni. But there's one point I really want to bring out here. This rivalry did not start today, but in this particular case, why?
Excuse me. I was going through different people's views on the
Is it so? Now, the Oni of Ife, Ogunwusi Adeyeye, conferred a title on the peace Sanusi Dotun, which is a title that covers Yoruba land. But this particular Alaafin is kicking.
She had done something that was worth her life, and they quoted the hadith, right? And most of them, that's what they were quoting. Again, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just telling you what I observed. And then the Yoruba came on board to talk about the exact same thing, and they said she shouldn't have died, and they were quoting the Quran. Essentially, the point I'm trying to make is that it seems that the culture of the people or the vision of the proponents of a particular faith among certain people have created
ọ̀sọ̀rọ̀ ni wọ́n ní kí epo má gogo lẹ́nu
another word that says
tẹ́lẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá lọ ṣèpàdé l'Àbújá Sultan ni wọ́n máa gbé sókè Aláàfin Adéyẹmí ló yí padà pé níbo Sultan wà lókè àwa bá Yorùbá wà ní kíní ẹgbẹ́ àga ẹgbẹ́ lọ sólókè wọ́n pè Abacha pé
bàbá
someone say Allah said they should buy them if they leave Islam. All those other things, I'm going to leave it to you.
Section. Someone say Allah said they should buy them if they leave Islam. All those other things, I'm going to leave it to you professionals. Let me just continue what you told me to be doing here. Come on, Shan Bogua. So it says here, certainly, let me go back just a little bit. So it says that Awolowo's ideas certainly constituted a big threat to the relatively slow and more traditionalist social order favored by the Hausa Fulani patrons of Islam in the north. And from him emanated incessantly the ideas of path to Nigerian freedom, which he declared again and again. He wished to see accepted throughout the length and breadth of Nigeria, even when many of these ideas were incompatible with Islam as it was understood in the north. An unyielding belief in the virtues of the British parliamentary type of ballot box in the hands of the masses of both sexes from the age of 21 and above, he backed up his ideas with an organization that was efficient, but sorry, I'll take that again. He backed up his ideas with an organization that was efficient, but especially dangerous to the interests of northern Nigeria, as perceived by the NPC rulers. The latter regarded him as a potential dismantler of the north, a view reinforced by his alliance with the pagans, in quote, of the Middle Belt. Now, we said it before that Awo was the one, it was actually in Western region that we first had universal suffrage. In other parts of Nigeria, well, before independence, it was that you had to be a homeowner, you had to also be a taxpayer, and you have a certain level of income in order to be able to vote. With Awo, and then later on, some people will say, okay, men can vote. But with Awo and with Yoruba, with AG and Western region, the idea of universal suffrage, where everybody could vote regardless of their sexes, that was what we had in, or regardless of their sex, what we had in Yoruba land. All right. Also, they, of course, saw him as a threat. Now, let's continue. So I was saying, we talked about all of this the last time. Let's just see what we can cover before we go today. Here there was a man of plebeian origins who in the West had successfully appealed to the masses above the heads of the so-called natural rulers, who had effectively made the latter subordinate to the leadership of the educated elite, whose free primary school program was bound to annihilate birth privileges in favor of acquired privileges. Here was a kafir, as it seemed to the Muslims, who was pretending ability to discern and interpret their interests. For the NPC, it would have been all right had he confined his activities to the south. But alas, he had in Ilorin crossed the frontier and had allied with the less privileged grassroots Talaka Akparakpo. So that as they affected to believe, he might see their wives in their poda. I mentioned this earlier. This is one of the things that the Hausas were saying, or the Northerners were saying, that it was in the helicopters were looking at their women, they're invading their privacy and things like that.
In the circumstances, the NPC felt that
his temerity and style literally scared the NPC leaders. In the circumstances, the NPC felt that desperate efforts should be made to prevent this man's heretical ideas, as it seemed to the rulers, from being imbibed by the Northerners. To this end, an agreement was made with the more calculating, more pragmatic NCNC, who were not prepared to be as audacious or foolhardy like the Action Group, to throw the red rag to the Gallic bull. Evidently, the teaming up of the NPC and the NCNC was bound to exacerbate the relations between the Igbo and the Yoruba. Since so far, I think I mentioned this the other day, how Awo worked with, when we get to talking about Awo and SLA, we'll get in. Awo worked with the North, but Awo did not work with the Northern establishment. Why? Because Awo had a problem with the feudal nature of the North. Awo had a problem with the way that the place was structured. I mean, hindsight is 2020. Looking back right now, I would have called Papa, and if I had the opportunity, I'd say, Papa, just stay in the West. Just leave them alone. That's what they want to run their thing. Leave them. But again, that's what he would have said in the 1940s. But in the 1940s, he also acknowledged the fact that these Hausa people have been dominated. You see, Hausas were not always the way they are. And I remember saying something last week that, of course, Hausas are the most. Again, without any fear of contradictions, I think that the views of Awo was like those people should be quote unquote liberated. Maybe his mind was in the right place, but the Northern establishment did not take kindly to that. And so what did they do? They worked with the NCNC. That the establishment had with him.
Because again, it was not about
So I was saying that the system is not broken. It's designed that way. So the job of a reformer is to understand why it's that way and to also find a way to change it. But you can't, apparently from what I've noticed, especially in the North, you can't do grassroots. You have to do, it's a different approach. Anyway, the point is the NPC got the NCNC to work with them, and like somebody said in the comment section, they were a second fiddle to the Northerners. That's true. That's true. And they did that also, to be fair, they were also being pragmatic, because in becoming second fiddle, so to speak, or the younger partner to the NPC between 59 and 64, all the Igbos also did was give themselves the opportunity to now take over the jobs in the civil service. Now, you would think they did that as NCNC. In other words, the Yoruba people in NCNC will also enjoy that, the largesse, so to speak. But when it became more about Igbos, that's where the problem was. Thank you very much, Kubu on YouTube. I hope it's better now. Let's continue. So it says here, not long after independence, the NPC began to discover that they did not have to pray specially to Allah to save the North from the wrath of the in order. For apart from the effective opposition by the Yoruba NCNC, even if you don't like your brother, just leave him alone, do what you want to do. You can do your own thing. But if you want to be an ally of someone, be an ally with somebody who at least has the interest of Yoruba at heart. In other words, you don't like it. Again, I don't speak for APC. Join any party, PDP, any SDP, anything. But at least you know that the interest of your people is taken care of. I will tell you this: LP has no plan for Yoruba, especially since Peter Obi joined LP. Nothing for Yoruba people in terms of what if you really thought of, if you had Yoruba, that many of the posts, elected offices, right, in Yoruba land was occupied by Igbos in last election.
I mean, there was LP under.
I'm not just saying Lagos.
It was a good party.
I mean, there was LP under Mimiko now. It was a good party. Just like NCNC with about Macaulay.
As soon as Peter
We know better than the others. We think somebody was just trolling Yoruba people on social media and say like he understands why. Even if you don't want to support your understand why the bigot was against your people, because your people also said something and the person is now insulting Awolowo, is insulting the Ajayi Crowther. Bayo is supporting Tinubu and is a problem. But your name is Emeka and you're supporting Peter Obi. Why are you supporting Peter Obi? And so I told that person, I said, you are Emeka. The person to be telling Bayo what you are saying is me. And Ade and Olu and Ola can make that point. You can't make the point. You're literally supporting your own person. And people have this weird reason that it was time for Igbo presidency. Where was it written? What happened? We've had it twice. This is not Basbos. This is historical data. Who benefited the 2 times we had our folks from the East as president or head of state? Who benefited? You can deceive yourselves. It's fine. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to our listeners. I'm talking to the people who are always acting as if they are wiser than the. You can't be wiser than history. You cannot be wiser than history. Especially when the history is a present reality in Nigeria. You can't act as if history doesn't matter when the history is being repeated right now. If you act like you're wiser, you have done that to your own peril. Say somebody is next. How many people president have you had in Nigeria? Has there been a chief president? How about Idoma, Bacham, Birom, Angas? Are you saying that all these other groups? How many Hausa presidents have you had in Nigeria? Who says it must be one Kimi come before you? Who says? Would I like to have it? Of course. Based on what? Based on level playing field. Look at the candidate and tell me that I should pick this one because it's from that ethnic group. And you're telling me that politics should not be based on ethnicity. It should be based on merit. But the one who has merit is Yoruba. And you tell me to let him go because you think that it is fair to have the one that's not Yoruba. Meanwhile, the person that's not Yoruba is not even competent.
You know what? I don't mind if other people say it, but
you know what? I don't mind if other people say it, but Yoruba man says, I just wonder, like, what's wrong with us sometimes?
Look at the track record of these 2 people.
Let's use competence. Okay. Look at the track record of these 2 people, or even these 3, or even these 4, of all of them. Look at their track records. Who do you think is competent? I say the person that is competent is President Tinubu. You say, no, I'm saying it because it's Yoruba. That means that your mind is thinking tribal. Your head is ethnic politics.
Because the question was simple.
I'm not the one who is thinking ethnicity. You are the one. Because the question was simple. Who is more competent? Or who is most competent of all of them? Is Tinubu? No, you're only saying it because you're Yoruba. Are you saying that you're supporting the one you're supporting because he's Igbo?
Based on the antecedents, clearly it's Tinubu. So if you are going for merit...
Based on the antecedents, clearly it's Tinubu. So if you are going for merit, it should be the one you should vote for.
I like him. I like what he's doing.
And yes, I like him.
He's not perfect. He makes mistakes.
I like him. I like what he's doing. He's not perfect. He makes mistakes. He says certain things. They are reversing policies. I'm wondering what's happening. But I'd rather have that than China go to China.
And if you're a Yoruba person, anything that will hurt your people, you must be there to prove that.
And if you're a Yoruba person, anything that will hurt your people, you must be there to prove that you are detribalized. Something is wrong. And it's not with others, it's with you.
But you have to flex that you know book.
They are talking about cultural appropriation, but you have to flex that you know book. You now go and put your mouth, say, this thing must hold. I don't even know what is wrong with my people. Something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with your people. Nothing is wrong with your people. Something is wrong with you.
By the way,
Even if you don't agree with what your people are saying. By the way, if they are wrong, say it's wrong. But what they are saying, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it on this cultural appropriation nonsense. Because a person cannot constantly change your history, change your language, own your food, own your clothes. What do you think is really doing? Is psy-up. Before you know it, you're not proud of anything you own. Unless you make it Nigerian. You see people, a Yoruba person goes to cover Ojude Oba because it's a Nigerian event. Ojude Oba, how can you reduce? I mean, with all due respect, SMP exists to protect the interests of the Scottish. And they are not black. Oh, all these black people and tribalism. It's the problem with black. Ask an Igbo person to pay more in Exu is tribalistic. So I said, do you know that if an Irish person goes to Scotland, the Scottish will not pay tuition, but he will pay? And I told him to Google it.
An English person goes to Wales, he pays more than the Welsh person.
An English person goes to Wales, he pays more than the Welsh person in Wales. But you tell a person coming from outside the region to pay, they call you tribalist, and you as a Yoruba person, you start feeling sorry because we are ignorant for the most part. And we also have this heart of, kajo kajoyo, kakura mora, kebi mora, but matano webi. Even America, the great America where everything is laissez-faire, you still have in-state and out-of-state tuition. Like, people don't pay the same thing if they're coming from out of that state. Why do you have to now explain to Yoruba person? This doesn't mean tribalism. It just means that the people from this place have a right to enjoy something because this is their home. That person who is coming here also has a home. You could also enjoy that thing. If you come, you don't have to start explaining that you're not a tribalist. And then you say in Sena climb that you don't understand. All you do is just, eat food, do work and go and sleep. You don't know how it is run, you don't understand it, but you're shouting Sena climb. Are you sane? I'm sorry, because this is for us as Yoruba people. We do this thing and it's painful. Meanwhile, you cannot go to other people and have that same thing. What is it that you or my children should enjoy from the land of their fathers that will make them feel like this is my own? Somebody will buy your tongue, come find your tongue, and like we must own everything together to prove that we are one Nigeria. What kind of thing is this? That's why I said the reason Nigeria is not uniting is because we don't talk about things like this. Are you telling me that UK people, do you see them shouting unite, oh, unite, oh, unite, unite? You will be singing unity as a song since 1960. And we are not uniting because we are swimming against the tide. Basic common sense. Someone will be shouting, are we not uniting? Are we not one Nigeria? And again, all of this is to say the Yoruba person who then leaves the matter and is joining them. And we see the same thing in many movements. E.g., the one that they are doing the other time, feminism.
Who has a history?
The Yoruba woman
Not just having
who has a history of not just having her mothers in the Parliament of Kings, but her own mothers being kings in different Yoruba towns. Who has a history of our mothers, going far distances doing international trade for more than 1,000 years. He's sitting down with somebody from another part of Nigeria to be complaining about what men are doing to women from stopping them to work. And she's calling it feminism. She thinks that there's a Nigerian brand of feminism. She doesn't know that the feminism she's going about is the feminism from a particular ethnic group in Nigeria. If a Yoruba woman is a feminist, that feminism has to be. Do you know the British women could not even vote?
But no, you have to prove that you are one Nigeria.
Your women could depose kings. But no, you have to prove that you are one Nigeria.
if not that we are all Nigeria,
and the Yoruba men too, those ones go online be talking nonsense, say, if not that we are all Nigeria, there's a way our women. Whatever happens to your brain that makes you talk down on a Yoruba woman as a Yoruba man means that there's something. It's terrible. My sister is there. I always asking, are you a feminist? Now we know now.
200 years ago, we had women who.
You have 200 years ago, we had women who straight the entire nation depended on. Q. Madam Tinubu.
Everything was in Ibadan. Having 2,000 slaves.
Everything was in Ibadan. Having 2,000 slaves. If you heard the word slaves, just think of machines again for that era. There was no industrial revolution. That means that she had farms. She had businesses.
I mentioned that earlier. She was the one who led market women with about.
She mentioned at the Motopelewura. I mentioned that earlier. She was the one who led market women with about Bakoli to fight the British.
In some places, the women could not even eat his well. You get the point.
In some places, the women could not even eat his well. You get the point.
I also have rights in my home.
You have a group of women fighting over. I also have rights in my home. I also have rights in this society. You. You have access to inheritance. You are a daughter. There was a video I played the other day where a girl was asking a Yoruba girl in the East, like, if your parents pass on, are you going to have anything from them? He said yes. So are you going to have less than the men? He said no. We're going to have equal. Are you sure you are saying the right? I'm like, why are you asking her like 4 times the same question? It's strange in some parts of Nigeria. There are places in Nigeria today, if their father dies, the girl gets nothing. When my father passed on, every single person got the exact same thing, boy or girl. And my family is not special in that regard. Everybody is Yoruba culture.
Where the woman has to drink cups water.
But you will now join a group where the woman has to drink cups water. Without due respect, I'm not mentioning any ethnic group, but you have to join that one to fight for women's rights. What do you think you have the same frame of reference?
You say women cannot work. Our tradition is.
You should be fighting for deeper things. You say women cannot work. Our tradition is against women working. You know, no, traditional family, traditional wife.
I'm just sad.
When I hear these things, it just makes me feel bit. I mean, I'm just sad. One traditional wife. Do you know what traditional wife means in Yoruba land? A traditional wife builds houses.
She's working.
And she's still married. Because she's working, she has her own money.
You are talking American.
When you say traditional wife in 2025, you are talking American.
Yes,
you're talking American. Yes, Ori Ojori, Tabid Idigi. That's how we do it. Ori Ojori, everybody will get something. Idigi by your mothers.
But the person who just got the
that's how they share property. But the person who just got the government to get they are fighting over is the one that is leading your movement in Nigeria. See the funny thing that is happening. I saw one some days ago. Said women must be able to walk. Women must be able to walk because we are not subservient to men. And a Yoruba woman is fighting that matter. I'm like, did your mother not tell you any story?
Our mothers have always worked. They've always made their money, and they also remain in their father's.
Our mothers have always worked. They've always made their money, and they also remain in their father's, in their husband's house. And if they want to divorce, there's a way they do it. Nobody's holding anybody that you must die. You must get on. There's a way we do things. Our mothers have always built houses. My own mother who was a teacher built her own house. She doesn't live there because, of course, I mean, she has her husband's house. The point is not. Look at your mom. Look at your grandmothers. Most likely, I mean, in my own case, they were traders. The least thing you will see a Yoruba woman do is that maybe she doesn't want to go out, or she's not able to go out, and then she's plaiting hair in the house. And if you build on that, you have a salon.
Those who work with their husbands could take the proceeds and take to
they have farms. Those who work with their husbands could take the proceeds and take to the market. Some of them do alajakpa. They travel the entire space, selling things. Listen, the difference between modern Yoruba and our older mothers is that they now have to collect salaries. That's the difference. It's not work is not the difference. It's the type of work.
Work is not the problem. It's the type. The difference is that now you are going to have
Work is not the problem. It's the type. The difference is that now you are going to have to collect salary. They didn't have to collect salary. They made their money. What I'm saying is that does that mean that Yoruba women, our culture is perfect towards women? Of course not. There's no culture that's perfect. But I'm saying we don't have the same battles. Our fights are totally different. What I need to be fighting for as a Yoruba man is totally different from what some other people need to fight for. And again, it doesn't mean that I'm not even talking about that I'm better than them or anything. I'm just telling you that we have different issues. But we Nigerianize ourselves to the point where let me tell you what's happening. What's happening is that you are here. Another person is here. The person is fighting here. You come down to fight this level. You have already reduced yourself. The needs that you have here, you don't even talk about it though. You feel you have a duty. Intersectionalism or intersectionality. You have intersections of whatever cares of interest or whatever. You come down, you are now here. Or you look back, before you know it, 1, 2, 3, 5 years, your conversation is low level. You're just talking about who will not drink cups water in 2025. Who will now? I cannot be drinking cups water. What kind of culture is this? Women are men, as men. You are a Yoruba woman. You're also now part of that. You that should be asking. Look at our women. Thank God we have great examples. Dominate the banking landscape, leading in business, in tech, and that's beautiful. Right, but that's what people to have conversations with. Look for one of them to be your mentor, not all these angry blue-head feminists on Twitter. The chair center woman, yes, that's Bukwan Woshika. And somebody wrote here, maybe it's the savior complex. Maybe. Save yourself. I'm just saying this because it's not just about politics, it's about everything. It's about everything. God will help us. And the one I think that is actually is this whole this one I want to go and do gallery at Gilelo Mbaka. You now say it must hold. I'm like, of all the things that they're discussing right now, you don't really understand the issue. Someone says the first woman to drive a car in the whole of Africa was a Yoruba woman. You are right, but you know that even reduces her in terms of achievement, and it was intentional. If we mention, by the way, Olufumi and some Kuti, and the first thing you think about is that car thing, what you get to her? This woman worked with other women, and again, God, it is well with Yoruba people. We have a lot of grounds to cover, right? We have a lot of things to do. I'm just stopping because let's talk to ourselves. Again, I'm not saying support Tinubu. I'm not saying be Tinubu's skinny. I'm not saying join APC. I don't belong to APC. I'm just saying that if you see a group of people who are against the interests of Yoruba, and you have to also be discerning. What did he do? It's not just to say Owambe. It's not just to say Lagos culture. What's the big deal about that? Wait till your children cannot tell your history without having to pander. That Ife Igbo thing that we spoke on the other day that became a major thing that went all the way to Ministry of Education. Do you know why it's important? If you don't do anything about it, in the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 50 years, your children cannot tell the history of Yoruba civilization without mentioning another ethnic group that has nothing to do with them. And if they don't say it, they will feel like they are hurting national unity. And if there's any word that's been weaponized in Nigeria's politics, is unity. It doesn't mean the same thing to different people. It means totally different things to different ethnic groups. Some people, unity means take over, put them down, assert authority, dominate them. And we've seen it. We see it between 1959 and 1964. We also see it between January and July of 1966. We know how this thing plays out. So Yoruba people, you don't support everybody, but at least know that this person has your interest at heart. That's all I'm saying. Don't go and be like those who said, oh, we want the help top to bottom. Now they are complaining about Etiosa. So the man in the House of Representatives is not representing us. Like, why did you put him there? Because you don't like Tinubu, we want help you top to bottom. Okay.
Banky W was there.
It is democracy. Banky W was there.
Not like we didn't have alternatives. I'm not mentioning other parties.
Banky W was there. It's not like we didn't have alternatives. I'm not even mentioning other parties. Banky was popular. Banky could chase. You are talking about competence. Banky had not even a business. PME.
He could marshal his points intelligently. He's a family man.
He could marshal his points intelligently. He's a family man.
Help you top to bottom.
What were you looking for? Help you top to bottom. Now, see our place now.
Not long after independence, the NPC began to discover that they did not have to pray specially to Allah.
Not long after independence, the NPC began to discover that they did not have to pray specially to Allah to save the North from the wrath of the Action Group infidel leader. That his house, Yoruba land, was not in order. For apart from the effective opposition by the Yoruba NCNC under the Igbo, the Action Group began to dismantle. So one is from the outside, from outsiders. What am I even saying? One is insiders working with outsiders. The other one is insiders now destroying the AG. By 1962, the crisis within the predominantly Yoruba organization had divided the Yoruba to the point of no return. In the classical fashion of the 19th century, by the way, when he refers to 19th century again and again, he's talking about the Kiriji War period. In the classical fashion of the 19th century, the leaders abandoned the pan-Yoruba concept, fought war of words, excuse me.
Roy, come here, come and get me water. Put it in the one that's not cold. It says here, by 1962, the crisis within that predominantly Yoruba organization.
It says here, by 1962, the crisis within that predominantly Yoruba organization had divided Yoruba to the point of no return. In the classical fashion of the 19th century, the leaders abandoned the pan-Yoruba concept, fought war of words on the Nigerian platform, and made it very easy for outsiders in the north and the east to exploit their differences, to the ultimate disadvantage of Nigeria.
He's talking about the Action Group crisis. What precipitated that crisis?
He's talking about the Action Group crisis. What precipitated that crisis? I'm going to discuss next week. Yeah, bye-bye. No, come. Sorry, guys. It's okay. Thank you.
What led to the crisis? 1962. We're going to discuss all of that.
What
sometime next week.
Led to the crisis? 1962. We're going to discuss all of that sometime next week because so I'm going to spend time talking about what we are also doing to ourselves and how to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Not by apportioning blames, but by seeing what really happened. Right? But Yoruba sọ pé tí ògiri ò bá lanu, aláǹgbá ò lè ráyè wọbẹ̀. Right? There will always be people who would have dissenting opinions, but it can't be the vast majority. It can't be like, not even the vast majority, it can't be like 50-50. It should never be.
It should not even be 60-40.
Thank you for the gift.
Thank you so much.
It should not even be 60-40. Agbex, thanks a lot. Thank you so much. It should even be 60-40. They should be in the minority. What we should have is, if you're doing something that doesn't work with the house, we should be able to say, no, it's not right. And then by the time we talk, sometimes I'm going to be like, okay, just do it, even if I don't agree.
Papa and SLA had done that in 1961.
Papa and SLA had done that in 1961 and in 62, Nigeria would have been totally different. Why? Because the North that was trying to get into the West and the East that was trying to get into the West will have nobody to work with.
Whether we are showing that we went to school
Whether we are showing that we went to school or we have degree, I mean not law school, or you can't talk to me like that. If I can't talk to you, if let's say for instance you can't talk to me like that, at least don't now go and work with people that have terrible plans for Yoruba land in the name of one Nigeria. That's the whole. We're going to go deeper into this next week, but let me just read a few more things before we go. The first in Africa braggarts. This guy just insulted Osha, but it is well. The first, you know what I mean by first in Africa braggarts. So in the 50s, we have a lot of first in Africa, WNTV, first in Africa, Cocoa House, first in Guinea, Stadium, Liberty Stadium, which is now Obafemi Stadium, first in this. So we have a lot of first in Africa, first in Africa, first in Africa. So we just use that one to jab us. The first in Africa braggarts of the 50s suddenly became the architects of the Wild West. The hurricane, which was converted into a tornado by the educated elite of the NPC and NCNC, who exploited the situation to the fullest. Do I blame them? No. The only thing I blame NPC and NCNC for, especially NCNC, is the fact that today, the children will look you in the eyes and tell you that their parents did you or your region a favor. That's what makes me now tell them the history of what happened. But on normal day, I'm more concerned about how we let the outsiders in. And I'm saying that because it's not always the same reason that we fight. So for instance, these days we fight for some different things. I was shocked yesterday. I saw a video by the Nikabesi Ogunwusi. He posted, the handler posted something, and Yoruba people went on that stuff and started writing insulting things. You think you are fighting for your king? Who is wrong, by the way, to be clear? I don't have time for all this. Don't say, we are one. We are not one to be changing history. The person who is right. Sorry, guys. I think we have an irritant at this point because the person who let's even forget right or wrong. An example, no matter what happens, if a person is a king, particularly, kings generally, but of course, kings, let me just say kings, including Oba of Benin, for instance. I'm very careful of throwing shades because number one, they are kings, they are Yoruba kings, or at least have Yoruba ancestry in the case of Oba of Benin. Even if I argue with you or you are wrong, and I know for the most part they are just talking nonsense, but I don't see myself now saying Oba of Benin is this, in order to be able to score a point. But to see young Yoruba people go on that video in the comment section typing insults because you are from another part of Yoruba land that needs to really calm down, tells us that we can see some cracks. But we also know how to deal with the cracks. And I've said this several times. And this is what the elders... Here's the point. You will become the empire, right? But you become the empire of your space and you'll be excluded.
You will insult everybody.
You will insult everybody. Insult Oni, insult all the kings, anybody, insult everybody. But your influence will be limited to that space where you can be empire over. And then you discover that what's going to happen is that nobody's going to tell you not to say what you're saying. But once you notice those groups, it's not about I'm for this, I'm for that. It's about the collective interest.
Not individual ego.
What's going to affect the entire Yoruba people? Not individual ego. Not even my own king's ego. Not even on his ego.
That's the beauty of it.
And guess what? There's no ego for him in this matter. That's the beauty of it. Maybe that's why I'm even speaking up, because I rarely speak up on things like this. There's no ego.
I'm just saying that anything
History is sacrosanct.
for some people is religion, and I saw it here.
But I'm just saying that anything could cause a crack. For some people, it's religion, and I saw it here this afternoon. I mean, this today in the comment section.
Somebody says if you have done it to Oni, you have given legitimacy to others to do it to Oni.
Somebody says if you have done it to Oni, you have given legitimacy to others to do it to Oni and all Yoruba kings. Yes.
They can insult your own king too.
Anybody sees what you are saying to Oni, they can insult your own king too.
Let me tell you something. I'm not insulting Ife and Oni.
And I've said this several times. If you insult Ife and Oni, let me tell you something. You're not insulting Ife and Oni in reality. You are telling the world.
Tell them how small you are. Your institutions, your monarchy.
You are telling them how small you are. Your institutions, your monarchy, your culture, your understanding of life. You are telling the world how small you are. Because see, no matter how angry you are, there's something you should never say. Even if you don't agree with Allah, you cannot just go out and say, Allah is this, Allah is that. You can't. It shows you are not properly brought up. And like I said, this thing, what's happening on your state right now? Revisions. I make it very clear. There's no permanent chairman in your state anymore. It's already passed into law. What we're saying is that we've got to be measured. And these are the cracks. These are the things. But I think what people are wise, I mean, the wise ones amongst us, what all of us will do, including everybody here, because I'm sure everybody here is wise. What we are going to do is you talk to the person who is wrong and try to bring them in. If they say no, you cut them off. It's not about looking for 50-50. Let us fight each other. No, you cut them off. They will be excluded from the commonwealth of I want money. They will be excluded. So they can. Just what I can. You can't make certain. You can't do certain things Yoruba land, because it's called that you don't really care for Yoruba land. You care for a subset. So let's be wise, please. So he said the first in Africa braggarts of the 50s suddenly became the architects of the Wild West. The hurricane, which was converted into a tornado by the educated elite leaders of the NPC and the NCNC, who exploited the situation to the fullest. This tornado ultimately engulfed the entire country. By 1964, when the first post-independence election to the federal parliament was due, the Yoruba were so divided that one party looked Kaduna Ward for salvation for itself, but for destruction for the rival party. The other looked Enugu Ward for salvation for itself, and in order to procure destruction for the other party. It was a classical revivification of a major element of the inter-ethnic warfare of the 19th century.
Somebody says they are exploiting the Yoruba bots today as we speak. Yes.
Somebody says they are exploiting the Yoruba bots today as we speak. Yes. But let me also say something on this matter, which is in line with what I just read. We have to also be careful how we speak to the Yoruba bots. Be angry when you have to be, but in your anger, I've said it several times, a lot of Yoruba bots, many of them are Gen Z, and I look at them like the way I look at my children. Not that I'm that old though, but you get the point. You want to try to get your son to see the light. You can be firm. You can be hard. Sometimes even almost, you can even say you're harsh. But in all of it, the person can tell that you are speaking from a place of love. Not that you are trying to score, you are trying to tell him that you know more. You are calling him Omwali. You are saying, but if you do that, you are pushing them away.
No, I'm not saying a lot. I said
Someone said, I disagree. A lot of them. No, I'm not saying a lot. Listen, I said most of them are Gen Z. Most doesn't mean all. Are there elders amongst them? Of course. And again, Agba Okogbo.
Like I said, I'm not saying
someone said they're also vile. Like I said, I'm not saying become a doormat. I'm saying be firm. But the point is, in your firmness, can they tell that you love them enough to wanting to help them see the light? Or is it that they're just looking at you like you are trading arrogance? And yes, sometimes you give. I'm not see.
I also think that the purpose of the fight is what determines how it is fought.
I'm not want to run away from a fight, but I also think that the purpose of the fight is what determines how it is fought.
Remember, if I'm fighting, we can fight.
If myself and a family member, if we are fighting, we can fight.
No matter what.
That's why I said earlier, no matter how angry, you can't insult Aláàfin, no matter what.
They have to be
Ọ̀rọ̀ lé yàtọ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ pé ará ìta kan wá wá sọ̀sọ̀kúsọ. They have to be able to tell in the way you engage that matter. Like you are firm, you're not trying to pander or make it look as if no, like or you're insane. I don't care. People will say so, oh, kinikan. Even people that don't know Jack, they will insult me, it's okay. But that will make me insult Aláàfin kò tí ṣẹlẹ̀. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀. So I'm not going to pander. So you are firm on your point, but you're not doing it because you are trying to spite the other group. Oh, but the other group, they are spiting us. If they spite us and we spite them, how is that different from what happened in 62? Akinola did his own. Our faction did his own. By the way, what they did, there's a reason Akinola has spoken of the way he's spoken of in Yoruba land. Not because he was such a terrible person, but because of the consequences of that event.
I mean, his heart was in the right place originally.
The consequences, I mean, his heart was in the right place originally. His original plan was actually, if you think about it, was supposed to be to benefit all of us. But once the Itakoro saw Bere and everything started, it shouldn't have gone that way. So this one goes, is a lie. Excuse me. This one goes against, everybody, everywhere down. What I'm saying basically is that let's not repeat the errors. Be firm. I'm not saying run away from me. Don't run away from a fight because some people also think that you are weak. Sometimes you have to give some people slap or quarrel. Like, use words to give people blala. But like I said, if you're a parent, most likely, well, I'm Nigerian, so we discipline children a bit. But even then, when your child when he's done, does he think like, Baba, I come, just took out his frustration on me? Or can the person actually tell that this person wants me saved? He wants to save my life from destruction. A lot of these Yoruba bots, obedient Yoruba, most of them, where they are headed is a dangerous place. And if you notice what happens after they switch, then you appreciate what I'm saying. Once they eventually discover, maybe, let me give an example. Somebody was insulting Yoruba people on behalf of Igbo people. Igbo is Yoruba. He did it a couple of months ago. Last week, he thought that we are one Nigeria. He now insulted Igbo. They are calling him Yariba, Yaribawa, Yaribabun. Now, he's online. But when he insulted Yoruba people, they were like, yes. As soon as it just felt like, we are all one Nigerian. If I can insult Yoruba people and they're Nigerians, I can also insult Igbo people because they're Nigerians. After all, this is what happened. He had the problem at the port, right? And then he said something about them. They went for him. Once that happens to them, you know what usually happens to Yoruba people once that happens? They will now go to the extreme. They will now begin to curse out Igbo. Any small thing. All Igbos are this, all Igbos are that. I'm like, you two have now gone to the other extreme. So the best way to rein them in, I think, is probably just to be firm, but let them know that you are not doing it in order to win an argument. You're trying to help their destiny. And I hope they get helped, especially the older ones. Those ones are just old for it is well. Wow. Let's get back into this. Wow, it's almost it. I said I was going to wait till 7:20 because we had issues earlier. But let's do a bit more and then I'll bring people up. But if you come up, please, it's 2 minutes because it's Friday and it's late. I can't believe it's almost 8 o'clock, but I hope you. Someone says Salako Alamala abusing Wole Soyinka. No, actually, maybe I'm talking about my own personality, sir. Let me tell you, the way my mind works is interesting. I was going to say Maron Sileni.
What is wrong with these children? Again, see,
Bushoyinka. And what is wrong with these children? Again, see, if you are 50 and you think like that, you're a child to me as far as I'm concerned. with all due respect.
Things without having to interrogate.
It takes a child to believe things without having to interrogate. He's not about half Igbo. They are full Yoruba people talking about body. Àwọn fẹ́ pé Yorùbá bàbá wọn, Yorùbá ìyá Yorùbá bàbá wọn, ìyá ìyá wọn àti ọ̀dọ̀ ìyá àtọ̀dọ̀ bàbá tó ń gbà bọ̀dẹ̀ àwọn náà wà. But people pander too much, child. Maybe you went to school with them, or you are the friend with a person, or you are related, or you married. So right now your bed is what is determining our politics. That kind of thing, like they say Yoruba films, could necessary. No, but seriously, it's not necessary. Like, it makes no sense. So the rest of the people will have to pander to what happens in your bed because you marry somebody from a particular place. Oh, girl. Ọlọ́run ṣàánú wa. Orúkọ tí bàbá àti tọmọ àti tẹ mọ́ ọ̀tọ̀ láti kọ́ ṣe. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kọ́ Ọlọ́run tún kìíní ìṣe ńlẹ̀ Yorùbá ṣá o. Let's continue. I'll read that part again. This tornado ultimately engulfed. By the way, if you notice, I'm not explaining what happened today. Maybe on Monday. The reason I'm not explaining what happened is because I don't want us to just see it as history. I want us to see it as our present reality, because not much has changed, and that's the sad part of Nigeria's history. Creed, bó ti wà láti kọ́ ṣe ló ń bẹ nísìn ọlọ́mọdé máa rí báyìí títí ayérayé tó ẹ̀mọ́ ìdákẹ́ ó yẹ ká tún ṣe o. By 1964, when the first independence election to the federal parliament was due, the Yoruba were so divided that one party looked Kaduna-ward. Those are people that allied with those are people that decided to align with NPC. They looked Kaduna-ward for salvation for itself, but for destruction for the rival party. The other looked Enugu ward for salvation for itself and in order to procure destruction for the other party. It was a classical revivification of a major element of the inter-ethnic warfare of the 19th century.
Thank you for the gift. But I want to agree with others. We don't ostracize these guys. To be fair, I think it's also...
Thank you for the gift. But I want to agree with others. We don't ostracize these guys. To be fair, I think it's also important. Ostracization is also a good weapon. It's better than cursing people's fathers. Just call them off. We'll talk about the details next week. Let's read a bit more before we bring people up. But the Igbo were... So it was a classical revivification of a major element of the inter-ethnic warfare of the 19th century. But the Igbo were placed in a situation markedly different from that of the Hausa Fulani and the Yoruba. Historical circumstances and the very nature of the people impelled them to behave as a people, one and indivisible, vis-a-vis outsiders, and aspire to dominate the country. Who is he talking about right now? The Igbos.
And what does it mean by historical circumstances and the very nature of
And what does it mean by historical circumstances and the very nature of the people impel them to behave as a people, one and indivisible? What is he saying? Because from time, they have had to move into different spaces. Is what migrants do. You have to, even if you have issues at home, most likely when you get abroad, when you get outside the space, you want to be one and all of those things. So your survival depends on it, and that's how the voting in block thing, that's how it started. They do things for themselves. Don't care about the locals, the host, excuse me.
They don't care about the host communities. Like, what do they want?
They don't care about the host communities. Like, what do they want? Politically, no. AC, why should we do APC? We'll do LP. Anything, why should we do APC? We'll do PTP in Lagos. Anything that will, to be fair, right, originally is for what will make us survive. It was for survival purposes. It was an existential decision. But later it became almost like spite. But we'll talk about that later. Let's just stay with this. So he's saying that the very nature and the historical circumstances, in other words, they've always had to move out. So they have to come together everywhere they find themselves and, form associations and things like that. What is crazy, though, is the second bit he mentioned. aspire to dominate the country. That was not because they were moving out. That was actually because of a lack in their history. And I say this thing as respectfully as possible.
Contrary to what Azikiwe was saying in his 1949 speech, there's never been a time where
Contrary to what Azikiwe was saying in his 1949 speech, there's never been a time where they dominated anything. And again, with all due respect, we're discussing history. There's no history of city building, for instance, in the East. It doesn't exist. The first town, not city, the first town that was built in the East was built by the British. And that's why when we're reading earlier, it says they are a village. It was from,
certain people are village people. It's not an insult, it's an observation.
was from
Village people.
Willis Commission report. It says certain people are a village people. It's not an insult, it's an observation. They are a village people. The Yoruba people are an urbanized people. Right? If you, for instance, in your history as Yoruba people, and them just say something very quickly. If you look 800 years, 900 years ago, and you can find a town or a city with 70,000 people. Yesterday, I was watching a documentary on how Europe took the Americas. And, you know, they're talking about different towns like Jamestown, you know, Hudson, how they populated Pennsylvania, yes. At the height, there were 18,000 people because they had to bring in people from England, from the UK, from England specifically. Penn was one who, you know, was the one standing in for the entire space, so they named the place after him, Pennsylvania. Sorry, I just found an irritant on YouTube typing nonsense. I'll answer you. Again, let me just advise you, learn to type like a human being. You are shouting. When you type in caps, number one, what you are saying is nonsense. Now you're now loud with it. Geregu, what's your name? Have sense. Where was I? At the height, at the time in Pennsylvania, there are 18,000 people. And it struck me that 70,000, 120,000 people in the 11th, 12th century AD is something huge. You have to think of layout, think of waste, think of hygiene. If people they don't have that kind of background, and the first time they are able to see the possibilities in Nigeria, they will say what they want to say, which was to dominate Nigeria. And this was a plan again that was crafted in 1944. They had it before then, but it was crafted in 44. And the document for that was referred to by another document, an Igbo State Union National Caucus Protocol that was signed in 1964. Bambadiwe and Banugo. Now to quickly answer the clown on YouTube, Igbos fought war to be on their own. Yorubas have been in government. If your analysis is true, then Yorubas should fight for Biafra. People I say they don't curse you, say you know if you ever do anything on your own. You must beg other people to fight your fight for you. You didn't fight to be on your own. You fought to take over people's territory. Maybe they've not told you. Let me answer this question very quickly. Igbos did not fight to be on their own. And Nigeria was right to bring them back. Not necessarily because you are that anything, but because you were stealing what belongs to others in the process of trying to get out of Nigeria. E.g., every part of South that you were going to cut out with you, they never belonged to you. If you want to have your nation right now, you don't need me to fight for you. I'm talking to you directly. I hope you can see my face. I hear my voice. You don't need me to help you. You have 58 representatives in Abuja. Talk to them. And when you are talking to them, ask for your own ancestral land. Ask for your ancestral land, not other people's territories, where you killed them because they said no to you. Whether it was in Rivers, in Abonema, in Degema, in Ibibio towns, in Ikorabasi, in places in Cross River State, in present-day Bayelsa State, where people were left to die in rivers, where you killed people. Let's not go into history. That Biafra thing they are talking about, it's a war to steal. It was not a war to protect your people. It was a war to steal other people's resources. And if it happens again, you will still lose. I said you will lose because you don't think. Let me just say it in English so that you hear. But I also said God will have mercy on you.
So it says both, but the Igbo
Where was I?
placed in a situation markedly different from that
So it says both, but the Igbo were placed in a situation markedly different from that of the Hausa Fulani and the Yoruba. Historical circumstances and the very nature of the people impelled them to behave as a people, one and indivisible, which is a plus, by the way. It's a plus for the Igbos. The fact that although they were outside, they were able to, form one block.
one and indivisible vis-a-vis outsiders.
One and indivisible vis-a-vis outsiders,
The last major ethnic group in the
and aspire to dominate this country.
opened their society
The last major ethnic group in the forest belt of West Africa, forced to open their society to the forces of European civilization, they became in Nigeria the most eager patrons of two dynamics of modernization, Christianity and Western style education, in this case excelling the Ijebu in Yoruba land. The school and the church became the pivotal institutions, smarting under a sense of loss that Western civilization had come to them too late. The desire to catch up with the rest of the South, particularly with the Yoruba, was very strong indeed. Within 2 generations, they began to feel. I like how the man wrote this thing.
within 2 generations. They began to
Because when you read, let me finish. Within 2 generations, they began to feel that they were already at par with the Yoruba. If you read the book by Chinua Achebe, The Trouble with Nigeria, again, they're always seeing problems with Nigeria. That's why you're always having problems. Anyway, the book, The Trouble with Nigeria, what he talked about was the fact, let me see if I can quickly find it. Give me a second. I want to read that phrase so that you can understand where he is coming from. Where is that book? I need to just read some. I think he reproduced it in what's it called? There Was a Country. I think he made that statement again in There Was a Country. One second. On ball. Fantastic, I found it.
So it said this, The Trouble with Nigeria, page 46.
So it said this, The Trouble with Nigeria, page 46. Listen to Achebe again. One of the problems that the East has is competition. Competition can be a blessing, right? But it's hyper for them. In other words, they cannot define their progress without competition or without comparison. Why do I say that? Take a listen to this. You know what? Let me read it from There Was a Country. So that way I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Trouble with Nigeria is there, but let me read it from this one. It says, I have written in my small book entitled The Trouble with Nigeria that Nigerians will probably achieve consensus on no other matter than their common resentment of the Igbo. What do you see here? Victim mindset.
The origin of the national resentment
Afisheni.
is as old as Nigeria and quite as complicated.
The origin of the national resentment of the Igbo is as old as Nigeria and quite as complicated. It's not true. Nobody hates Igbos. Nobody resents Igbos. Nobody has any problem with Igbo. If anybody does anything in that looks like that, it's a reaction.
The idea of responsibility and accountability, you always think it's people's
But if you hate the idea of responsibility and accountability, you always think it's people's fault. Because again, it's cultural at this point. But let's just read a bit more. It says, the origin of the national resentment of the Igbo is as old as Nigeria and quite as complicated, but it can be summarized thus. The Igbo culture, being receptive to change, individualistic and highly competitive, gave the Igbo man an unquestioned advantage over his compatriots in seeking credentials for advancement in Nigerian colonial society. Unlike the Hausa Fulani, he was unhindered by a weary religion. And unlike the Yoruba, he was unhampered by traditional hierarchies. Now we see why there's no order. This kind of creature, fearing no god or man, was custom made to grasp the opportunities.
of the white man's dispensations.
such as they were of the white man's dispensations, and the Igbo man did so with both hands. Although the Yoruba had a huge historical geographical, I'll take that again. Although the Yoruba had a huge historical and geographical head start, the Igbo wiped out their handicap in one fantastic burst of energy in the 20 years between 1930 and 1950. Is it true? Was referring to. So let's go back to Angela's book now as we begin to round up. He says, within 2 generations, they began to feel that they were already at par with the Yoruba. It will be recalled that in 1934, they had produced their first university graduate. In 1935, their first medical doctor, and 2 years later, their first lawyer and half bishop. By 1948, one of their leaders, Mazi Mbono Ojike, could boast that the Igbo had caught up with their Yoruba rivals. Again, it's always about competition.
No matter that much.
Our dairy,
It matters that much. With all due respect. You know why?
it don't matter that much. Nobody in Nigeria matters that much, with all due respect. You know why? Because the best way to grow, or to know how, let me put it this way, the best way to measure success is to compare your present with your past. Not your present with another person's present. Your paths are different.
Before you know it, you will have,
And if comparison becomes the yardstick for everything in your life, before you know it, you will create resentment, you will hate people, you will now project that thing and say, oh, they hate me.
because it's not available for
Because if you don't get something, say it's because I don't have what they have.
them. They're not allowing
What is this? Because it's not available for you. No, you won't think like that. It's because me and them, they're not allowing me to have it because they have it already. You cannot see anything through any other lens apart from competition and comparison.
So I can look at a person and get inspired.
That is a problem. I'm not saying there's something wrong. So I can look at a person and get inspired.
You are here. How do you now know if
I want to become like that person.
you have to look at where you were? And
But okay, now you are here. How do you now know if you are here?
it's always about
You have to look at where you were and where you are. But if in your life, it's always about you are writing, you are driving, whenever you are driving, you're looking sideways. When will you not laxident? No, they say, oh, laxident. When are you not going to laxident? You're going to laxident finally. Oh, my laxident. In case you don't understand, that's your advice. It means the person is going to, get involved in an accident because they're always looking sideways. Oh, accident in the air. So he talked about, by 1948, one of their leaders, Mazi Mbono Ojike, could boast. But like other Nigerian peoples, not content with staying in their fatherland, which was patently too small for these extraordinarily prolific people, they dispersed themselves throughout the rest of Nigeria, taking advantage of the Pax Britannica. Extremely energetic and enterprising, at least outside their fatherland. Jesus is Lord.
extremely energetic and enterprising, at least outside their fatherland.
No comment. Extremely energetic and enterprising, at least outside their fatherland, they succeeded in having a good share of retail trade and the transport business. Compared to their Yoruba rivals, no work was too mean for them. It is said that, like the New Zealanders, there were no beggars among the Igbo. Have you heard this thing? You've heard it before now. It's not true. It's not true. Travel to the east. But I mean, it's a saying, which is a lie. But, by the way, I'm not. It's because people use it to take digs at Yoruba and nothing. So I go everywhere. People are begging. Oh boy.
Let me not say anything on this matter.
If you get on it, you will see fire. But let me not say anything on this matter. Let's just read. So anytime that so don't go be like I'm taking anything from out of the
Compared to the Yoruba rivals, and this is fact,
the good that's said about them.
was too mean for them. Do you know why?
Compared to the Yoruba rivals, and this is fact by the way, no work was too mean for them. Do you know why?
The reason is because immigrants are always
Compared to the Yoruba rivals, no work was too mean for them. The reason is because immigrants are always compelled to do anything.
say that we are comfortable.
Most people in their houses usually feel comfortable.
Even the biggest company.
Not to say that we are comfortable not to do anything, because last, if you look around, even the biggest companies are still owned by Yoruba people. But in terms of, there are some menial jobs that you wouldn't want to do because you're at home. But it's true that they were hardworking. They could do anything, right? It's like when we're growing up, We used to throw plastic away. Like, let's say, for instance, you have a big bowl, it breaks. What's the next thing? You throw it away. Or maybe if there's a party, they'll use it as fuel for the firewood. So back in the day, we're not using gas, it was firewood. Then the Ghanaians came, and then they taught us that there's something called DK. Do you know what DK means? So they taught us about DK. So it's discovering that you don't have to throw away this thing, you can actually decay. Your people would never have thought of DK. Do you know why? Thank God the Ghanaians have overcome that period. So it's not a jab at Ghanaians, but it's how life works. Generally speaking, Yoruba people have an abundance mindset. How did you know that was what I was about to say, Ades? They have an abundance mindset. If you have a scarcity mentality, Yoruba, there's a saying in Yoruba. I don't know. I can't remember the exact phrase, but the point is that. I don't know. I can't remember the exact phrase, but the point is that. Omele, kò jẹ́ kí ọkàn lọ, olú máa ń sọ̀yàn di wèrè. Not letting things go, not letting things be, like every little thing. In other words, not letting things go, not letting things be, like every little thing you want to keep it, like you want to use everything to the last. You want to, like you must finish that thing to prove that you don't finish. That thing is from a scarcity. We say it in Yoruba land that's how people become like lunatics, because you are just before you know you are hoarding things you're not supposed to. Thank you, Ades. Thank you so much. I mojukuro lon jeru werepo. God bless you. I think it's that one. I la mojukuro lo mueru. Your boy Bambi. Thank you. Let me clap for everybody for helping me. Remember that. Let me clap. Thank you. I la mojukuro lo meru werepo. Oh, le feel it. You can't drop something. You must hold on to it and you must finish it. You must mano metonlare. Malowo metonlara sho wereni sonida. Oh my God, I'm so blessed. Let me clap for you too. Oh, this is beautiful. We have Yoruba professors here. If those are the two, somehow I mixed the two up in my interpretation, but thank you for helping me with those two. Malowo metonlara sho werelo sonida. I la mojukuro kini keje na. I la mojukuro were ni nje I la mojukuro were lo nje keru epo. The point is that you are not hoarding, and you also you know how to let things go. But people who are going through like what happened in Ghana at the time when any job, at least they're not stealing. Let me help you fix that thing. That's how we knew about DK. There's no English for DK, by the way. It just means you're amending the bowl, the plastic bowl. I've tried. It's the same thing with the kind of job certain people did in Yoruba land. It's not that Yoruba people were not doing the work. It's just that there are some things that you just consider to be, which is also good. They'll be like, it cannot go to waste now. Let's fix it. Which is also good. That's done, but I like mojukuro were. I like mojukuro were. Don't just keru epo. Somebody says London Taylor. We have to close very soon. Somebody says London Taylor. Ejikadi shop. Koloshanu. Obioma, that's what they call them now. I wanted to stop. So what I'm doing is I spend a lot of time on Yoruba today. I wanted to stop. So what I'm doing is I spend a lot of time on Yoruba today. We're going into the Igbos. We're not going to stay too long here. We're going to continue on Monday. When we get into Igbo matter, please, nobody should come and call me. Meanwhile, please remember, when we get into Igbo matter, please, nobody should come and call me tribal. So when I was hard on Yoruba, nobody complained. Though. Again, I'm reading a book, and this man, he gives everybody like no matter where you're from. So I'm reading it and explaining what it's saying. And when it was Yoruba turn, I didn't hold back, so God will help all of us. We have to change, eh? Somebody on YouTube said, Yorubas have always been in Nigerian government, yet you are on social media castigating Igbos, which you are depending on their natural resources. Me Okawemo, I want to answer this question. I'm not reading again. I'll continue next week. Let me answer this question and bring people up. Jesus is Lord. Where do I begin with this ridiculousness?
Were you born like this, Gera?
Jesus Christ.
Were you born like this, or is it?
Were you born like this, Gera?
It happened to you.
Were you born like this, or is it like it happened to you? Because it looks like you have mental issues. But
if you use the phrase Yoruba people in government, the first time that you can
if you use the phrase Yoruba people in government, the first time that you can confidently, with your sanity intact, say that Yoruba people are in government is 2023. That's the first time.
2023. Oh, but you're the Yoruba president in 1999. Yes. Was it the Yoruba candidate? Was it the candidate?
2023. Oh, but you're the Yoruba president in 1999. Yes. Was it the Yoruba candidate? Was it the candidate of the Yoruba people? No. Yoruba people did not vote for Awolowo in 1999. They voted. We voted Olufalaye.
Too many things even. It says you castigating Igbo, which you are.
There's a lot of level. There are too many things to even. It says you're castigating Igbo, which you are depending on the natural resources.
It was only 2003 that we voted for him.
Let me finish the first one. Obasanjo was president. It was only in 2003 that we voted for him, and even then, Baba played us. He played us by showing that PDP took. He was playing a part. He was playing party politics, by the way. He wasn't playing ethnic politics. He was playing party politics. Yoruba people have always been in opposition since 1959.
The first time.
Always.
See what's happening right now. You see how we are changing the
Always. The first time, and you can see what's happening right now. You see how we are changing this, how Tinubu is changing the structure. Not because he's Yoruba, but because he's smart. I can't say the same thing for the one you are pushing all over the place. The point is that now we have a chance, and I'm glad that he's proving it as a Nigerian, but I'm also proud as a Yoruba person that he's setting things straight. Not perfect, but on the right track. About your other thing, again, I'm. Some people have written here that I should not answer, so I want to scale down. I don't want to fight because the person cannot be this dumb and be typing, and you always typing in capital letters. Do you have a hearing problem? Anyway, it says depending on their natural resources. If there's any group in Nigeria that needs Nigeria to survive, it's your ethnic group.
What I just said right now, I have data from the 1940s up until 2020.
And what I just said right now, I have data from the 1940s up until 2025.
Any region, any group that requires Nigeria to
that tells you that in the last 80 years, if there's any region, any group that requires Nigeria to thrive, to survive, forget thrive, to survive, it's your ethnic group. Don't ever go around be shouting, you're writing Yoruba, you're writing nonsense. You get more from the federal allocation, from the federal government than you give. And make no mistakes, the oil that they're always shouting about, oil. The combined
of Abia, Imo, and Anambra is not up to the
output
and Lagos is a very
of Abia, Imo, and Anambra is not up to the one that Lagos is producing. And Lagos is a very small crude oil producer in Nigeria. Everything is less than 2% of the entire output of Nigeria. We have to be telling ourselves the truth. If they leave you with your resources, you would not. No. The point I'm trying to make is this. Ondo, I'm not going to go to Ondo. I'm using Lagos intentionally. Lagos is not even seen as a major oil producer. Lagos does more in terms of output than the 3 states combined in the southeast.
So when you say that Nigeria is depending on the natural resources, I'm wondering which one? The soil?
So when you say that Nigeria is depending on your natural resources, I'm wondering which one? The soil, the earth, or the sky? Which one?
for the gas to be explored, and I pray.
And I should say this: when it's time for the gas to be explored, and I pray for you that very soon they will, use your gas. But at that time, I'm praying to God that there will be resource control in Nigeria at that time, so that you will be able to actually use all your money. I don't think your Bible should be sharing money from anybody's oil or gas or anything. But by the way, you don't have that gas being used right now. Nobody's using your gas. It's just there, locked somewhere. The only thing you produce of any consequence is oil, and it's about 1.7% total production output.
I did not say, people are saying Ondo. You know what? Give me a second.
Don't go around saying that people are depending on your region. I did not say, people are saying Ondo. You know what? Give me a second. Let me read out that thing to you. I know I could say Ondo. I'm not saying Ondo for a reason.
1 second.
To mention Ondo is overkill. 1 second.
Akwa Ibom produces 34.4%.
Akwa Ibom produces 34.4%. Delta produces 23.6%. Rivers produces 23.5%. Bayelsa produces 19.8% of everything we will do for this country, in terms of crude oil. Ondo produces 4.1%. Lagos produces 2.7%.
Now it gets interesting.
Edo 2.3%. Now it gets interesting. Imo is 1. Anambra is 0.2%. 1.2 plus 0.2 is 1.4. 1.4 plus 0.75 is 2. Wait, yes. 1.4 plus 0.75 is 2.15%. Lagos produces 2.7. I'm not comparing them with Ondo. And Lagos is not even known as the oil producing state like that. Edo produces more, 2.3% more than the combined output of the Southeast. You can't come here and be telling me that you're the one feeding Nigeria. Are we okay?
Your output, the entire region output by 2.
If they multiply your output, the entire region output by 2, you'll be like the same level as Ondo State.
These are the rhetorics that your fathers put in your mouth.
So when you come around telling people you are depending on your resources, these are the rhetorics that your fathers put in your mouth since the 1940s. Not because they are true, but because it makes you feel good. And in feeling good, you will say things you're not supposed to say. You will insult people like you're insulting me right now as if I'm your father's age mate. Because this is what you do to your parents. You will talk things, you just say things. We feed you. You depend on a natural resource. Which resources?
The combined VAT of the Southeast is not up to the one of
IGR. The combined VAT of the Southeast is not up to the one of your state alone. What are we talking about?
God has blessed Imo State. Imo has a lot of gas.
But that gas. We are good. Doesn't matter. And take it, whatever I want to do, we do with it. If you have $1 billion from Almajiri, with all due respect.
They are perfect. They also have their own issues. But Northeast, where we are having.
And by the way, all those people that use call Almajiri Northerners parasite. It's not true.
Last year and this year, than the entire southeastern region. What are we talking
And I'm not saying they are perfect. They also have their own issues. But Northeast, where we are having Sambisa Forest and Boko Haram, they had more VAT last year and this year than the entire southeastern region. What are we talking about?
Let's bring people up.
In the face of Boko Haram, they had more revenue than the Southeast. And you are still calling them parasite. Are you not the...
But 2 minutes.
Let's bring people up.
So I'll bring you up 2 minutes and then we'll come over.
Please, if you are coming, is it 28? I can't believe it. But 2 minutes, so I'll bring you up 2 minutes and then we'll come over. Everybody in Nigeria is important, but nobody should think is more important, especially when they are less important. God bless you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Let's bring up our 5 people. Please don't send requests again. 2 minutes, please, so I can leave here before 9. Thank you.
Please let's meet once we get up.
Once we get up, I would have loved us to have more time. Please mute. I would have loved us to have more time, but because it's pretty late. If you please mute, please mute, please mute. Jesus is Lord.
Please pass out on TikTok. This is showing inactivity. So let's start with my battlefield.
Please power tap on TikTok. This is showing inactivity. So let's start with my battlefield. While we power tap, please power tap. This thing is
Hello, good evening. 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Good evening, guys.
Hello. Good evening. 2 minutes, please. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, it's been a bit. That's just been coming online now. The network is poor. Okay. There is something from what you've said. There is something I want to remind you of. You know, in the First Republic, when the NCNC and the Hausas and whatever, when they joined hands together, the North were predominantly educationally backward. And the Igbos, they took advantage of that, right? They took advantage of that and ran with it. So they dominated the landscape. Okay, and because the Western region and other regions too, the Igbos they don't only dominate. They didn't only dominate their area. They came into the southwest, north, and dominated every area because they were part of the federal government. So that gave them an edge, and because of liberalism of the Yorubas and the laid-back or laissez-faire attitude of the north and the middle belt particularly strong anyway. So that gave them the advantage, and that advantage has given them what do you call it? The audacity to still want to impose their wishes on the rest of the country without realizing that number thing.
Let them trash it out among themselves. Don't get involved. Don't trash talk one king over another. Legitimacy to outsiders to trash talk them. They will say things like, after all, Yoruba people also abuse Oni. They also abuse Alafin. They also abuse whomever. A lot of times they say things that maybe we don't necessarily agree with or we don't think they should say. Or let them. They have their associations where they meet. Let them go and talk it out there. That's point 2. Now, point 3. Kusui, when you were reading The Trouble with Nigeria, I was really, really hoping that section you were reading, where they were when Achebe was talking about how the Igbos by the 1930s they had cut off
the burst of energy.
Now, if you continue with that section, there is a point where he now talks about.
Please power tap on TikTok. This is showing inactivity. Sorry, please go on.
So they've now started copying Yorubas in installing Igwes, where, and when I say Igwes, I'm talking about kingship, the institution of kingship. It's traditionally not Igbo. It's not in Igbo culture. It's not in Igbo tradition. It's not in anything. So Achebe was actually railing about that, about how from Yorubas.
I think this is your time in a very.
All right, let's have
not my person with that. All right, let's have
and I believe in
Shola, Mr. Shola.
everything she said, by the way.
Go first.
TikTok, please power tap. This is
And I believe in, I agree with everything she said, by the way. But if you're on TikTok, please power tap. This is showing inactivity. It might go off if we don't. But please power tap on TikTok. And also, if you'd like to support what we're doing, please reach out to me. I can't type anything right now. And to those who have done so, some people here support what we're doing. Thank you very much, Remy Guy. Thank you for the gift. I see what you're putting out there now. Thank you very much for supporting. Thanks to everyone. I can't add the bank details now because it's hanging, but I will see what I can do in the next few minutes. But please let's power tap like as aggressively as we can so that we don't lose the live session. We're almost done. We're going to go to Mr. Shola. We'll go first. Hello, Mr. Shola. Shola, right?
Hello, Prof. Prof, I'm going to
Ẹkáàbọ.
pass because I'm going to pass because yes, something could have.
Got some for all of us.
Market. I was getting some stuff when that's why when I messed up my phone. So
You have
sorry,
to got
next
some
time I will
for you got some for all of us in this space.
The
This
reason
about 2
why I
minutes.
said the different sides, you understand the story of the different side or the other side of the aisle. You understand? Not because we don't have ours, not because then
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's
There
20,
is
you have
one
20
thing
more seconds, so thank you.
Prof, which I really wanted Monday, I can't remember. Last time I speak here, either Tuesday or Monday. You talk about the Sultanate Council, who are the sworn enemies. Hello, I can't hear you.
Sorry, we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this on Monday. Like we can't go into that particular topic today. Please.
But at least I want to tell you that even if there was letter, it has nothing to do with the infidel. Let me tell you one thing. When Sardonia deposed Muhammad Sanusi the he deposed him because of Sheikh Inyas. You understand? Because Sultan get access to the Hausa land. Their fear was that he was going to overthrow their system. And Muhammad Sanusi allegiance was to that him and he become more influential than when he was emir. Is on the Yoruba traditional leaders. Try to set a date.
You have to go. It's 14 minutes to 9. But thank you very much. I've been here since 1 p.m.
If
right?
you know
so
you will
even
not
if
allow me to say much, please allow.
May I not bring you up?
Can't
Okay,
you add
I'll
me
remember.
another 1 minute? Just add me another
No,
1
please,
minute.
please.
It will benefit
You've already
the
used.
house.
You've already used 4 minutes.
Let me say two more things out of 20 that I wanted to talk about. So under this education of the role of the traditional rulers, and again, please, to those that are abusing you, you understand, in trying to educate them their history, you understand. I want you to do three things, and including those that are insulting their traditional rulers. Number one, how to find a leader with wisdom.
You know what? Let's do this on Monday. Seriously, yeah, we will have a conversation on this thing. Sorry. I really have to go. Abdul Rahman, I have to go. Please try and understand. Thank you very much for your submission.
Thank you.
Thank you. On Monday, hopefully we're going to have more time. You know, I like to listen to you, but also I have to balance things. It's already 13 minutes. Can you imagine? Well, thank you very much for being here, and thank you for your submission. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I will throw you down. Thank you, sir.
Prof, I forgot to tell you something, so I'm coming back. Hello, enjoy.
I will throw you down.
I'm going to have a nice evening. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Fantastic session we've had today. Thank you, everybody, for making today's session a success. We're going to continue from here next week. How ethnicity influences Nigerian politics. We'll be reading again Adele's book, but Awori Saxon mentioned the other part of trouble with Nigeria. So I was going to read it now, but I was like, time. So I'm going to read it on Monday. So like we always do, we'll go back a bit to see some of the things we talked about before, and then we'll launch forward. So we're going to do all of that on Monday. So 1 p.m. if your time, West African time, Monday, we'll be there. We'll be here. Everyone on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, thank you for liking and sharing and tapping and commenting. Beautiful. On TikTok, we're on 272.8k likes, which is fantastic, and I really want to thank you so thank you very, very much. Let me also quickly say something. Rahman, while of course I understand what you're saying,
to be honest,
so I don't stop at everybody who insults me or throws, shots and things and throws darts and things. But to be honest, if I have to stop to respond to everyone, we will not be able to do anything at all. But I think it's also important not to let everything slide. There are situations where you've got to respond. Why? Because there's certain things, not just insults, but misinformation. And so that is also part of the session. It's not like one or the other. It's not like, let's just read books. Reading books, the reason for it is not just to know what happened, it's to be able to apply it in today's reality, in today's context. So when a person comes around with fallacies and insults and propaganda, it's okay to stop sometimes and respond to them. Now, one of the things I should tell you is this. I know sometimes it breaks the flow, but one thing you can be sure of is that I will always go back to where I stopped. But it's part of the session. Also, the way Twitter is, or the way social media is generally, whether YouTube Live, Twitter, Facebook,
that's also why, if you notice, we have news.
You can also afford to be one way. You want to be able to mix things up, and I do that intentionally, to be to me. I'll let you know how you can be part of it. We're working on something, and I'll tell you more about it on Monday. Somebody had mentioned it earlier today, and I'm sure we all heard it, but I'm not going to repeat it now because I want to be able to say a few more things about it, which I'll not be able to do now because of time. So on Monday, I'll talk about it. But if you want to support what we're doing, please reach out to me. I'll tell you how you can be a part of it. But thank you very much, everyone, for making it to this week's sessions. Have been wonderful, and I thank you for making them so. All right, so we're going to have anthems before we go, the Nigerian anthem and also the Yoruba anthem. For those on TikTok, for those on YouTube, we're gonna have to let you go because we don't want to have copyrights. With YouTube's always, muting things and all of that. So we'll let you go. But thank you very much for making today's session. Please let's be here again on Monday. It's 1 p.m. We meet every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 1 p.m. Ife time, West African time. So please join us